Good morning, Delray Beach. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Mel.
And we are here at the Historical Society, one of my favorite places. I just love that every time you come here, you walk out learning so much history.
There's so much rich history
Yes.
in Delray, and I mean, for this organization to be here is really good. You know, for me being a person that's born and raised, and then being able to sit down and as a kid listening to stories that my grandfather would tell, and then coming here and start reading things on the wall, like, oh man, I heard about this before. My granddad used to talk about this, or even just listening to the elders in the community tell stories about where Delray began, what Delray is now. I mean, coming in here and putting it to light. And I truly think that a lot of people should really come in and visit this.
I think everyone needs to come because this is, especially this particular exhibition, which we're going to talk to the people who put it together and get deeper into it. But I just think there's so many things that you do need to know about. You need to know about this history, A, so things don't repeat in the future, but B, just so you are familiar with what happened in the place where you live. And I think they do the most beautiful job with their photos and the words, and it's not so overwhelming. At first when you walk in, you see all the words, and you're like, oh, I have to read a lot. But as you take it into little bites and you read each snippet of history, it really is spectacular, and it shows how far Delray has come.
Right. No, I mean, even looking at the deep research, you know, that they really go for it and really bring to everybody in the community, for you to come in here and read and educate yourself. I mean, it's for adults, it's for kids. I truly think it's for every facet. And being at Delray right now, we already know what time we're at. There are so many people moving
new people to town.
New people moving here. And some people really want to set up home, raise their families here. And I think, like, guess what? You know what? If you really want to, you should really come and see what really built Delray and why Delray is what it is today.
And take the time to learn about your community. And as we talk about every week, and we love getting to share, there are always incredible things happening, wonderful people here in town that make it special. And last week, we went to do tacos and tequila at the tennis center.
Tacos and tequila. It was
amazing.
Lovely event. Delray Beach Open had many events happening. That
sold out. I think everything sold out.
Yes. But we had opportunity to judge it.
Yes.
So tacos and tequila.
Hard job. Very hard job, because they were all delicious.
I think I want to see some clips of you with all of the stuff in your face. Let's go.
Check it out. We are here for tacos, tequila, and tennis.
Yes, at the Delray Open in downtown Delray Beach, we get to try tacos, tequila, and we get a chance to watch some tennis.
Yes, all of our favorite things.
Yes, let's go check it out. I'm ready.
All right.
The judge's choice for the best taco is American Social. Best tequila cocktail, Farmer's Table.
Well, that was a great time.
I mean, tacos, tequila, tennis. They call it the TQ, baby. Triple T.
It was. And I mean, that is one of my favorite events in the year. It's just a great time. And I think they do such a great job, like we talked about when they were on, of showing all kinds of different programming for different ages, different interests. There was the bourbon and burgers and all kinds of things. And so you have to make sure you check it out next year if you didn't make it, because it is such a great time.
Totally agree. Totally agree. And I think the last time we were here, they were talking about the World War II exhibit and how Delray Beach really had a part into that, and all of the people from Delray Beach that had something to do with World War II.
And they do such a great job of really bringing it close to home, so you don't feel like it was this thing somewhere else, no matter what it is, where they show you what was happening here at that time.
I totally agree. I'll let you go ahead and bring them on.
All right, so first we are going to bring on Kaylee, the archivist of Delray Beach Historical Society. Hi.
Oh.
Thank you mean, this is phenomenal. Is Winnie coming now too? Winnie, you coming together? I'm sorry, guys, I didn't get the memo. And we have the famous Winnie, the executive director of Delray Beach Historical Society. Sorry, guys, I was so excited to start talking about things. I thought Winnie was coming on after. So, guys, every time you put on an event, you have a new opening. It is even more exciting and well planned than we could have imagined.
Thank you. Thank you.
How do you even begin to put together something like this? This is called Land of Sunshine and Dreams, 1950s and 60s in Delray Beach. How did this come together? What was your thought to even make this come to life?
Well, like you said, we last left you. Hi, everybody. Hi, Delray. Hi, Jamal. Hi, Amanda. Hi. Welcome back.
Thanks for having us.
Like you said, we last left you at World War II, and I think you all visited us when we had the outdoor sports exhibit too. So it seems as though we're kind of flying through the eras a little bit, and we had 20s through the 40s a few years ago, and then we had the World War II home front exhibit up for a couple of years. So now we enter into the 50s and 60s era, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. But in terms of the process, how this came about, it's really a year of studying and reading and researching. And that's where the talent and skills of the archivists come into play, and that it does take a year to read books and to do research and to find out what happened in the world during the 1950s and 1960s, because it was pivotal, it was transformational, it was complex, and to then chunk it down to the state of Florida, which the Florida story during the 50s is pretty unbelievable. So it's fascinating. And then, of course, everybody is familiar with the nostalgic 1960s, but it was also a tumultuous time and a complex time, too. So then we chunk it down from Florida to Delray. So that process is fun, exciting, but it's a lot of work to put it together, to create the narrative, to create the tone of the exhibit, the point of view. And as a historical society, we have a responsibility to tell all of the history, to tell the truth, to really tell people what happened, to not romanticize things that may be a little bit hard to read. But that's our role, is especially to educate young people as to really what happened here. And I really appreciate what you said in the beginning, was that it really does inform our future. So our purpose here is to educate and inspire people to learn about what happened here, and to be inspired to make really, really good, smart decisions and be good artisans of the future of Delray.
Yeah, and it's true, as you go around, there is always things that are hard to read. Like as I was reading, I was like trying not to cry, reading some of the facts. And then there's the beautiful facts, and you really cover the full picture of what's happening in this period, for better or worse at that time. And I think it is so important, especially for the young people who come here to see this. And it's not, we all know, and we're gonna get hate mail, but on the news, you would, depending on what channel you watch, your news is a little bit different. So for you guys really to dig in and do all of that research and figure out what really happened, I mean, I would imagine that's pretty hard.
Right.
Yeah, it does become a little difficult just in terms of sometimes, you have different sources that you have to use. I used a sort of variety of newspapers, so national newspapers, white newspapers, black newspapers, just all around the country, just different press. Just trying to gather as much evidence as possible, and then kind of looking, going, okay, what is our data telling us? What is the story telling us? What is the history telling us? And then we kind of go from there. But yeah, it's a lot of gathering. I'm very grateful to a lot of historical societies and museums and archives that have their work online, so I don't have to travel to Washington, D.C. To sort of find things out. But yeah, the state of Florida has a lot of things digitized, which is very helpful to me. So.
And we sourced everything. Yes. So probably 80% of the information is from the Delray Beach Historical Society archive.
Wow.
Including all the photographs. So cool. Our archive, the city archive, has about 100,000 items in it, including thousands of historical photos. So photo editing is part of the process. And then anytime that we needed to source an image or part of a story to complete the narrative, then we credit those sources. So
wow,
Well, you know, the one thing that stood out to me, and I was talking about earlier, that stories that my grandfather used to tell me as a kid, and as a kid growing up, we always used to play in some of the fields here on the west side of Delray, just in some of the empty lots. And he was like, man, how about you guys just go over to the beach and throw around a football? You know, I hit the baseball because we're hitting people's houses or hitting cars or whatever. Yeah, breaking everything. He was like, go over to the beach. He was like, that's too far. But he started talking about everything that had happened in order for blacks to even be able to get on the beach. So for me to come in here and start looking at some of those stories, like my grandma used to tell me, like, we really couldn't take Atlantic Avenue or take the street to get to the beach. We had to go through the trees and shrubbery and try to sneak, along to get on the beach. So he was like, it'll be a long hike through woods and through everything, walking through prickly pear, whatever the bushes and everything. So I always thought that he was just trying to embellish the story.
And then you're reading and you're like,
now I'm reading, I was like, oh, you know what, Pops? I know you're up there. You're telling the truth.
He's like, that's right. That's why you're there today, sir.
It's great that things like this are still here.
It's so important.
It is. It's an interesting narrative, especially researching this and putting it together to understand and realize our story, Delray's story, relative to what was happening in the United States and what was happening in the Deep South. Florida was the Jim Crow South. So the things that were happening here in our little beach town were alarming, but they were not unlike what was happening across the nation. But when you do read these stories and they are detailed, it's some of it's shocking. But there are other stories in the exhibit too about the agricultural story and how land got divided up into Florida.
That is so interesting. I think especially right now because we have seen so many people come to Florida. So to read about the last time when everybody really came to Florida is so informative and interesting because for those of us who, like I grew up in Florida, you grew up in Florida, but I went away and coming back, it's not the same place. And then you look at it even from, years back and you're like, wow, like that's what it used to be like with the land here. You said, what was it that it was in a vending machine you could buy land in Florida? Well, imagine that now, guys. Now you can't find real estate in Florida.
So you all were here a few years ago when we had the 1920s exhibit, which there was a economic phenomenon, the 1920s land boom, and then there was the land bust. But the 1950s was also extraordinary in that after World War II, people wanted to just go out of their houses and people were optimistic and people wanted to be in the sunshine and the sunshine beckoned. And they came down in droves and droves. And so Florida was a unique state and a lot of really interesting things happened to Florida. And the stories about how it was divided up and how we got where we are today. And it's still being developed and people are still moving here in droves. And the sunshine is very powerful, but people were really optimistic after World War II, right, Kaylee? I mean, they were.
And it was a lot of, I think it was like several million people moved to Florida just in the first decade that we kind of talk about. So just in the 1950s, it was, I want to say 2-3 million people.
Wow.
So several million people were kind of moving down and, land was really abundant. It was really inexpensive at the time. And so it was a great way for people to go, oh, okay, we can, people can come down here. But they dredged canals and they filled in land. And so it changed the land in sort of the shape of Florida, but it's, and it kind of changed the culture of Florida too a little bit. So we have, just so many more people.
Since you all are part of the Delray Beach Chamber of Commerce, we wanted to point out we set up in front of the tourism area. The Chamber of Commerce in Delray played a very pivotal role during this time because people were flocking here and the Chamber provided business support and economic support. So the Chamber played a huge role in Delray during this time period. So that's why we stationed us here.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So you have a big opening happening.
We do.
So can you tell a little bit about when this is going to open, how people can come and see this exhibition, because this is really amazing.
Sure. The opening night is this Friday night from 6 to 8, the opening party. We have fun things like a fondue station. We have a bar. It's very experiential. The exhibit is very experiential. We're in the 1950s room right now. We have a Florida room that's kind of decked out with 50s rattan and over 60 artifacts from the 50s, including toys, games, Barbie dolls, erector sets.
And do not touch them when you come, guys. They're not to be touched.
We
Played
also
with.
have a tech station, so people can come in and watch videos pertaining to civil rights, speeches, rock concerts, jazz concerts, all kinds of things. So we have that. And then in the 60s building, we actually have kind of a psychedelic rock and roll room where we're going to be showing concerts and documentary films from the 1960s. For the next year, we're going to show a different movie. We have a movie screening room. So the party is this coming Friday night. We're almost at the sold out
Yeah,
point,
everybody
I think.
always wants to come to the parties here. So I would say everyone thinks, oh, the Historical Society. No, no, no. If you haven't been, they know how to throw a party. So you have to make sure the
They know how to
second you
party.
see these tickets come available, you have to buy them because
Totally
it does sell out. And your buildings aren't huge, so you can't hold so many people because you want to be able to move around and read. So
Right.
if there's too many people, you can't see anything. So they can't just keep the list open. So those of you that like to wait, I see all of you, Delray Beach. You cannot wait to come to their parties.
Thank you, Amanda, and Jamal. So Friday night it opens, and we're all going to take a rest on the following Saturday. But then it's going to open to the general public on that following Tuesday,
Okay.
which is February 27th.
27th.
And then it'll be open Tuesday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Perfect.
And members of the Historical Society and our sponsors can come to the exhibit for free. Otherwise, it's $5 entry to come. And we're
Bring
really
the family.
excited.
You can bring the whole family. It's definitely something that, especially in that room, you just got to watch your little ones because there's really cool games they're going to want to grab.
I know.
Yeah. And a lot of
games.
people are coming downtown anyways, probably for dinner or a happy hour, whatever. Just
Yeah.
stop in.
Right by the
You know,
parking
Just stop in.
garage.
Stop
right
in.
here. Easy to park and come on in.
Yes.
So you know the Barbie phenomenon.
Yes.
So part of the 1950s and 60s, our artifact room in the Florida room, we were searching for Barbie, and they are online.
Let's go party.
Authentic from the 50s. They're online now for about $3,000-4,000.
Wow.
So we
If you
kind of
have them, sell them, guys.
we put the word out, and surprisingly and happily, Nan from the
Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec department
Yep.
had one from the 50s. So
Nan,
she
you
has
always
loaned us her
pull
Barbie.
through.
And she has the whole kit. She has the
Yep.
go-go boots, all the outfits.
Stop
She has 3 or 4
Accessories, yeah.
outfits. And then someone also loaned us a Ken.
Yeah.
So we have Ken and
Oh, how
Barbie.
fun.
And there's
That's
all kinds of fun stuff in there.
And that's
And-
actually unique because they just had the Barbie movie come out. What it was like not even a
Yes.
year ago. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
good
And
benefit. It's
everyone
kinda cool.
loves that. So to be able to come and see one of the originals, I mean, that's
Yeah, it's
that
an
in
original.
itself is pretty cool.
She's dons a bikini right now. We're all sort of debating on what outfit she's going to wear. And we have
you
a
could
music
change your
and
outfit every week.
we're changing.
You're right.
Yeah. We also have a music and fashion section in the 1960s room, and
Yes, we have a great dress from, it was
this is so
it's
exciting.
this pink silk dress, it's floral. We found it on eBay of all places, as I was just kind of searching Delray Beach, just trying to find different things, but it came from Sylvia's at Delray Beach, which was a shop just a little bit off of First, so not too far from here. The building is still there, but so we kind of did a little bit of research and
cool.
and so it was Sylvia's of Delray Beach, so we actually found an authentic Delray Beach dress that was sold here in the 60s.
and we have a pocketbook from Mercer Wenzel.
Yes.
And tell them the other outfit that we have.
Oh, yes, we also have, it was a flight suit that was worn in Vietnam, and it was donated by B.J. Swilley, and it was worn by her husband while he was a pilot in Vietnam. So we have his flight suit as well. So it's very, just both
Yeah.
things, it's very different, but it's very meaningful to us. So it's a very interesting sort of textile collection that we have.
This is a journey for sure. I mean, and you had mentioned a lot of words, but the words, I'll tell you, this exhibit was very thoughtfully put together. And we've had several people come through, and you had said you teared up a little
Yeah.
bit. We've had people laugh hysterically and tear up a little bit too, and that it is kind of an emotional journey through time. One of the fun things we have in the other building too is we focus on school spirit.
Yes.
Because Delray has always been known for that Friday Night Lights
Yeah.
vibe.
You know all about that, Coach.
Yes.
And so the section is small over there, but it's mighty. We
Yeah.
had some Letterman jackets donated,
Cool.
some old beanies from Seacrest,
Yes.
and So we have that, but we also have a surprise artifact hanging above the fireplace. And I think your next guest is going to tell you a little bit about that artifact.
Well, we are so excited for this exhibit and all that you guys do in sharing the stories, the important stories here in Delray Beach. So thank you. We appreciate you.
Well, Winnie, what we need you to do is we want you to go ahead and make a nice introduction for our next
Yes.
guest. Come on.
So the next guest is, a lot of people in Delray and Boynton know him. His name is Tom Warnke, and he's been working with us, I think, for about 4 years. And during the pandemic, he started here. I called him up and said, hey, I know it's the pandemic, but we had worked together. We had a surfing history exhibit here at one time, and I said, hey, we came up with this crazy idea. For the pandemic, we want to put 1,000 images outside for Delray for a year so they can come during the pandemic and enjoy history outside, safe. And he said, yeah, I'm game. So Tom came. We bought a $4,000 scanner, and we put 1,000 images outside. But Tom just got inducted into the Surfing Hall of Fame.
Wow.
Yes.
And, he helped us put some of the sports and surfing history together. So I wanted him to talk
Yes.
about
Come on over,
it.
Tom.
Come on, Tom.
There you go, Tom.
Hi. Oh, we gotta get him mic'd.
Oh, sorry.
We gotta get him mic'd real quick. You're gonna get to see behind the scenes what happens. Yes. Well, congratulations are in order. That is a huge thing. I mean, to be one of the best in what you do and in a Hall of Fame.
It was the culture category, not for my surfing prowess. I did win an East Coast Championships in the old guys age group, but it's because of the culture and the surfing history and the volunteer work.
Which is honestly probably more important
Yes.
to keep these stories like they're doing here alive of the culture and all of that. That's really exciting.
The one message I want to make sure the young people know,
Yes.
wear your sunscreen.
Okay.
I'm 75 now, I
Yeah.
grew up here, and I'm taking care of a hole they had to cut in my nose because I didn't wear, and there was no sunscreen in the
different time.
60s.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, wear your sunscreen. And I think all the dermatologists out there, Delray Dermatology, will appreciate that message also, because that's something that they really push on all of their patients is wear your sunscreen, because it is. I mean, it can be dangerous, this sun, and especially with the beautiful weather we've been having, we're all outside more. So that is a really important message.
but the surfing history of Delray
Yes.
is part of this exhibit. And
So
above
cool.
the fireplace in the next cottage in the 60s exhibit, we've got the first wooden surfboard that was made in Delray.
Wow.
It was made by Ron Heaviside, who was already making surfboards.
Yeah.
But he was in Seacrest High School. His shop class, his wood shop class teacher was a surfer. And they said, let's build some wooden surfboards.
So cool.
And we have the only one that remains out of the 3 that were made, but it was
Yeah.
made by Ron Heaviside.
Wow.
It was 1964.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he started Nomad Surf
Yeah,
Shop
and
in
everybody loves
1968.
Nomad.
So
Wow.
it's quite a rich surfing history in
Yeah.
Delray. There were champions that learned to surf here.
Wow.
We also have the largest manufacturing location for surfboards in the state was Delray Beach 60 years ago.
Wow.
They had over 200 surfboards in stock right here on Atlantic Avenue
Yes. That's
in
so
1964. And it was right across the street from Rich Wagon's bicycle shop.
Yeah.
And Rich Wagons was making their own surfboards.
Oh, how
They even had a
cool.
mold, the only one in Florida.
Yeah.
And across the street at Delray Bicycle and Sporting Goods, also known as Caribbean Surfboard Company, that's where they had 200 in stock.
Mm-hmm.
You could rent a board for $2 for the whole day. And
amazing.
Delray all of a sudden had a problem. The hotels said, wait a minute, we've got 100 surfers, all teenagers, in front of our hotel, and our guests, that's their beach.
Oh.
So Delray came this close to a complete ban on surfing.
Oh my gosh.
And luckily, they allowed 100 yards at the end of Atlantic Avenue.
Yeah.
So I tried to put 100 longboards on 100 yards with big waves. So anyway, Palm Beach did ban surfing.
Yeah.
18 miles, and
Wow.
that's part of the story. Went to the state Supreme Court, we won, and they could not ban surfing.
Yeah.
I'm telling everybody that's
It's
out there,
so cool.
this is rich history.
Yes.
You know, here, and I think there's so much
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much more that that you can hear from. I know you guys can go on for days in regards to, you know, these fun facts about
And
Delray
still
Beach.
not scratch the surface.
Still not. Right, I totally agree.
It's so cool. Like, I mean, I never thought of Delray Beach as a surfing place. Like, you usually think of like Hawaii, the West Coast, you know, all these other places. But so to hear how rich that history was here is incredible.
Exhibit 50s and 60s
Yeah.
is the logbook of the lifeguards from 1964.
cool. Yes.
And every day they wrote down how many swimmers, how many volleyball players,
Oh.
how many surfers, and
Yeah.
it says 120 surfers on a Sunday when it was this big.
And that's part of the great things about, you know, what we have in the archive too, where it's just these physical objects that have these great records. You know, it's like you think, okay, here's this logbook, and what can it tell us? But it tells us so much about what was going on and the, you know, sort of different seasons and what was happening and, you know, what was popular at the time. And it's just
It's the Ocean City,
Yeah.
or Village by the Sea.
Village by the
That-
Sea.
That connection to the ocean is highlighted in the exhibit. And a lot of people say, where's the Historical Society? Well, if you know where Dada Restaurant is, it's the white picket fence right across the street. And there's like 50 different stories in the exhibit about the 50s and 60s.
Yeah. So you gotta come check it out.
Yeah, people are going to come in and say, why didn't you include this? I'm 60 years old. I remember top value stamps. You know, there's lots of ideas that people are going to contribute. So we're excited about it.
Listen, the plethora of information. Thank you very
So
much.
exciting.
You know, a lot of people say knowledge is power, but I say information is power because without information, there is no knowledge there. So I have to say thank you guys very much for this information. that you
This is wonderful.
This is wonderful. And guys, listen, you have to come. You said next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, they're going to open up the exhibit. There's a party Friday night.
Yeah.
I guarantee you by the time that we're done.
Oh, it's probably already sold out now.
Probably so. After the show.
People seeing what's happening in here.
So, but thank you guys very much for having us. And
Thank you. And thank you for all the hard work that all of you do and all of the people and volunteers and everybody on your team, because it does take a lot of people, a lot of time, a lot of work to put something like this together.
I totally agree. Thank you guys.
Thank
again.
you so much.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so excited to dig in and see more of this exhibition because it really is so cool.
I totally agree. Even going back to one of those little facts about Delray Beach, you ride down Lake Ida, you see a wall on the right hand side, like right before you get to 95, right before you get to Lake Ida Park. That wall has a lot of significance in Delray Beach because the community that was on the north side of that wall wanted to separate from the black community.
Oh wow! I never knew that's why.
Yes,
that wall
they
was
wanted
there.
they wanted to
Just
build.
people who had like wanted their fence like.
A lot of people think that was just part of built when that community was built. No, it goes way back before that. And there was other communities in Palm Beach County that would try to divide, their communities up and build a whole concrete wall just to say, you know, we want to separate from the black community. There's one in Lake Worth. I mean, they have them in other cities in the area. I know up in Riviera they were trying to do that in the Lake Park area. You know, so, but when you ride down Lake Ida, that wall that's there, that's one of those significant reasons.
Crazy.
And they talk about that in
crazy.
here in some of their artifacts as well.
Yeah.
You know, so
These are things you need to know about.
I totally
Especially
agree.
if that wall's in your backyard. You gotta know why your wall's there.
Yes. And a lot of people don't know that. Oh my gosh, they have a wall just
I
because of
just thought
traffic.
it was there. Yeah.
No, not at all.
Okay,
Not
wow.
at all. Well, thank you guys very much for joining us. Have a Delray day. And we're out. Bam. Bam.
I invite you to join me at the Delray Beach Chamber of Commerce because here we're all about community. With like-minded people and businesses, the Chamber will help your business grow, and you get to connect with people that will become your best friends. Weekly events give you ample opportunities to learn alongside talented professionals. At the Delray Beach Chamber of Commerce, we are better together. Become a member at delraybeach.com.